Welcome to being at home with George during this time of COVID. And as we always start off the process with this idea of creating the possibility of being able to embrace whatever comes up, saying yes to life, good, the bad, the ugly, the neither, and at the same time generating the hope. And so today I'd like to talk about this idea of faith. I've been teaching a master class on courage, and it occurs to me that courage is a direct reflection of the amount of faith that I have when I exhibit courage. It's because I have the faith, and faith is not a belief. Alan Watts said, "Belief is holding on, faith is letting go." And so, thinking about faith as a lived experience, it's an awareness of our masterpiece or our divinity within. And so, when we have faith, we can do things. We lack faith when we don't have a relationship with our masterpiece or the divinity within, when we don't have this connection. So it's not so much a belief, it's more of an awareness of divinity within us. And that's usually aligned with the way things work, the way things are, with the truth of the matter. And so I had this experience yesterday. And it's interesting because we had workmen over the house and they were working on things. And I've had this box from this security we have for the house. And it's a box that contains a doorbell camera. And when I purchased it, and I talked to the representative of the security company that my house alarm is on, he said, "Oh, it's very simple. You could do it." So I had this box and I set it aside. And I thought, oh, I have the workman here. Well, I'll have my friend John put it together. I said, "John, I had this for about maybe 4 or 6 months. I just haven't known what to do with it." And so when I called the people, because I had to connect it, it turns out that I had the box there for a whole year. And so I didn't have the faith to even attempt it, but having John there. And then when we actually opened up the box, there was a bunch of things, not a lot of instruction. And so we had to experiment. John said, "There's no instructions here." So I said, "Okay, there's probably a YouTube video." So I went on my cell phone and we watched the YouTube video. And it was very simple. It wasn't even 2 minutes. And it just talked about just taking off the old bell or ringer. And then there's two wires and you connect it to the things. And I said to him afterwards, "Oh, I could have done that. I didn't know it was so simple." So I lacked faith to even try it. But having said that, part one was connecting it physically. The part two was to connect it to the hub. And so, as it turns out, when we opened the box, it wasn't just a little ringer. It also included a new hub and a keypad and some other things. And I was saying, do I have to plug this in? Can I use the old one? So obviously, I tried to use the old one and it didn't work. And then I was able to use the new one and I hooked it up and it connected to the landline. So I figured it out and I hooked it up and I was on the phone with the technician for about 30, 40 minutes trying to figure out how to get it done, but we got it done. And then we were able to get it to work. And it's interesting because how we got it to work was my alarm is controlled by my cell phone. And the old app that was on there, we tried several times, it wouldn't work. So we had to remove the app and then add it back or update it. And then everything worked. And so when I reflected on that situation, there was part one, I lacked faith. I lost connection with my masterpiece, with my divinity within my yes, I can. Or as I've known from my experience, sometimes you have to behave your way into proper thinking. Sometimes to have faith, you got to act like you have faith and just do the thing. As Emerson said, do the thing and you will have the power. So the first part, I lacked faith, but the second part, I found my faith, partly because I saw it was so easy to do. And then having that yes, I can mindset or that growth mindset, I reconnected with my masterpiece, with my divinity within, and I did behave my way into proper thinking. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was doing what I could do. As they say, do what you know to do, and the next step will be given to you. That is what happened. So afterwards, reflecting on experience, I realized that how many other times is there where there's something I want to do, but because doubt is there, doubt is paralyzing, or the lack of faith, and we don't do what we know to do. And I wanted that doorbell camera, but yet I didn't have the faith to even attempt to put it in. And who cares if I tried it and it didn't work? I could just call a tech and say, "Hey, can you come fix this for me," and pay somebody. But the doubt or the losing conscious contact with my masterpiece within my divinity didn't allow me to have the faith. And to me, that's what we can do. How can we stay connected? How can we be still and know? Or how can we behave our way in the proper faith by acting as if we have faith in doing the thing and realizing even if we make mistakes, we'll learn from it. So to me, the takeaway here is that we need to have conscious contact with our relationship and awareness of our masterpiece within, our divinity within. And that's how I actually, something more intense, that's how I got over my recovery. I behaved my way in proper thinking. And now when I think about it, I had a faith that I didn't even know I had that allowed me to do what I knew to do. And the next step was given to me. And in that case, after behaving my way in a proper thinking, I could think about it and reflect and had a lived experience of what faith was all about. It's having the faith and then doing the thing that we know to do. Because if we don't do that, then it's dead faith or there's no faith without works. And to me, this comes back to this whole idea of productivity, of the idea of having faith and being productive. How can we bring something into existence? How can we express ourselves in a way where we make things better? And so for me, some people could say you don't need a camera doorbell, but in my case, I do. I'm not home sometimes, and it's very helpful to be able to see what's going on when somebody rings your bell, even if you're indisposed, like you might not even be there, you might be in the bathroom or something. Just being able to see who's there is a very, very helpful situation to have. And so I like to end with just this idea of how many times during the day can we just say yes to whatever's happening and do what we know to do and then trust or have the faith that things are going to work out. And I'm not talking about doing something negative or anything. I'm talking about simple things like just being able to say, I don't know what's happening, being vulnerable, and then be giving our way into proper thinking, which might mean asking for help like I did with John. And then by getting help, then I was able to do it on my own.